you once again for joining us this evening and lending us your time at this very important gathering where we are launching the Social Security Review publication, an agenda for action and working towards a social compact. This program is organized by the Department of Social Development in partnership with GovChat and builds on our previous 3 dialogues, and this is our 4th dialogue that we are having, our hashtag Let's Talk dialogue. So we'll ask questions like, are grants developmental or do they cause dependency? We'll engage on topics of whether grants are actually an investment that we make in people's lives. We'll engage on whether we are actually creating enough jobs in our country to respond to jobless growth. We'll also engage on whether we can actually afford to expand social protection or whether we can afford not to do it, and what is the cost of inaction when we talk about these aspects.
I was having a conversation with a former leader of this Council of Churches yesterday on the basic income grant, and I said to him, but when you were minister in the presidency, you opposed this. And he said, because when we were fighting for liberation, we didn't want our children to be dependent on grants. We wanted them to be lawyers, we wanted them to be accountants. And I've made that personal transition, realizing that our economy is not going to provide that. So globally, we're facing situations of high unemployment where people are not guaranteed a job for life. And the reason why I thought that we needed to embrace very clearly a human rights-based approach was because we need to recognize that our world is changing, and how do our systems and institutions change. Section 27(1)(c) gives to everybody the right of access to social security and social assistance. We ratified the UN International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. We've got a world of authority which supports the fact that at the heart of any kind of economic stabilization and growth is the need for social security.
The conversation kind of goes like this, that economic growth is the priority, employment is the best form of social security, and if we don't provide employment and out of the employment and economic growth, we will then provide the benefits, we will provide the capability to then redistribute resources to people who have less. So that's basically the dominant narrative that has existed in South Africa up until this point. It's not evidence-based.
I think that the SA model now has many sisters across the region and further afield using the same common platform and approach. We at Sasbury have had the privilege of working with country partners to build models in Indonesia, Mozambique, Namibia, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Vietnam and Zambia. And they all look to SA Mod as the big sister. And there's now a growing network of users in South Africa and in these other countries, both within government and academia, who are learning and using these micro-simulation skills.
Actually also in poorer communities, you will find the one mother with a child say, no, that girl spends her child's money on her perm or phone or whatever, but not me. You don't find women guilty of it, but generally it's a perception. We've been conditioned, we've been told welfare is bad, and yet when welfare meant the welfare of people.
I'm a beneficiary of the white welfare state as well. Hospitals, education, that was my luck to be white, and I think that was part of my reason why striving for social justice is something which I feel so strongly about.
Currently, the department spends about 3.5 billion rands per month, providing support to about 10.5 million people.
The Department of Social Development writes the policy on the different kinds of grants. The primary focus of those ones is for people who are vulnerable in the country. We have social grants for children from the age 0 all the way up to age 18, children who come from poor families. So the department has those child support grants. We also have foster child grants for children who have lost a parent, who are living with people who are not their biological parents. So the foster child grant is another kind of grant that we give. The other grant is the disability grant for persons with disability. We provide disability grants for children and also for adults. And the disability grant is also given on a temporary basis, but also we have the permanent one for people with permanent disability. Then we have the older persons grant, which is the one that is the most famous, the one that the goggles go in queue for. That's the old age grant.
Is it economic growth or is it about social security? Where I'm coming from is that we should not necessarily be thinking about either or. In fact, it is both. We need to be driving this agenda. It is both. It is absolutely critical that we should provide a security net for people who are unable to, to sustain themselves. It is critical. It is part and parcel of, we've got a constitution that is demanding that of us.
Caring society is about affirming and restoration of human dignity. Fundamentally, tonight, we're talking about human dignity, not means of production, human dignity.
We've partnered with the likes of GovChat, with a financial services organization that will help us commit to being able to tip the tide in the skills development. And this challenge for us is being able to get youth, to be able to get the people that need those skills more. This 10-week program for us will be a great opportunity to build those skills and in those areas of cloud fortune. So it's important for us that not only we're giving the skills, we're certifying them, but we're connecting them with business to create that employment opportunity. And that's the part that's most passionate for me. Training happens, we've seen it in the industry. People are training, but how do we actually put that certified skill that's been developed into a job?
I can say that COVID has been a blessing to the ICT sector.
I was told, hey, Minister, we are starting something that you are not going to finish. I said, watch the space. I'm still saying they must watch the space even now. Because I believe, personally, in as long as we have people who go to bed hungry, we've got a problem. In as long as we have people who want to wake up and go and do something, but we are not creating a conducive environment for them to do that, we've got a problem. As long as we've got poverty, unemployment, inequality, we have a problem. And problems are there to be solved. So why can't we solve them? My view is that the African National Congress-led government must continue to make significant strides to address the gaps in our social protection system. So as a department, we are hoping that this will count among the department's flagship publications moving forward. The Department of Social Development commissioned the Social Security Review, and I don't want to go into that because it's already been explained. And this edition of the review has a secondary title, Evolution of Social Security in South Africa, an Agenda for Action. Authors of the featured articles are reminding us of the ever-present need to protect the dignity of our social security beneficiaries. People and their dignity are the reason the department exists. If our policies and programs fall short of affirming and promoting the human dignity of most vulnerable among us, we would be failing to deliver the core of our constitutional responsibility. Perhaps most seriously, it is not translating the people-centered recommendations of some of the articles who would be falling short of properly putting in place the basic building blocks upon which the future common prosperity of all South Africans will be taking place. Common prosperity. The Chinese, and in the book that I'm currently reading of their 18th Congress, they set targets. They didn't wake up and say, we are all going to be prosperous. They set targets towards that prosperity. And one of the things that they did was to say, we shall remove poverty from us. And when you look at the figures, the numbers of how many people have been pulled out of poverty from there, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. My view is that the formulation, translation, and implementation of appropriate social protection policies that will alter the state of the majority of our people demand that the department and other mandates of the state should undoubtedly be led by capable, ethical, and solid professionals. And by the way, when I speak about these guys, I don't exclude myself from there just because I'm a minister. I don't think that should be the issue. When we talk about a capable, ethical, solid professionals, we should say the same thing about these politicians, us.